Myself is Jacqueline Ajit Davidson, Assistant Professor from EC Department of Christian College of Engineering and Technology. So now we are going to see some overview of 4G technology. That is, we already discussed in the class about the 4G technology. Again, we are going to revise the topic about, that is the overview of 4G technology, right? So these are the some of the contents which are we are going to discuss about in the about the 4G technology, right? The objectives and approaches and the different evolutions from first generation to fourth generation, and the various technologies used, and the developments in the 4G technology, and finally the applications and the advantages, right? So these are the thing we are going to discuss briefly in this uh, lecture. So let us see what is 4G. Is that right? So this 4G means the fourth generation of the wireless networks, right? So the currently we are using the fourth generation technology in our mobile communication and all, right? So it is uh, a stage of broadband mobile communication that is uh, which was developed succeeded by the third generation network, right? So after the third generation, researches were done, and some more improvements were done in the technology, and 4G was introduced with more improvements, with high performance and high speed, right? So in this 4G technology, so the high quality streaming video is expected, and also it supports the multimedia gaming, and it supports various online services. So we can say so many examples, right? So that is the feature of the 4G technology, right? And also a 4G system can provide voice data and multimedia. It can provide these three things: voice, maybe voice data, and multimedia to the users anywhere anytime, right? So with the higher data rate, right? So while compared to the 3G, the data rate will be very high, right? So the data rate is very high when compared to the previous generations, right? So next, the speed, that is the data rate or the speed of the 4G network is 100 Mbps to 1 Gbps, right? It is capable of providing between 100 Mbps and to 1 Gbps in both indoor and outdoor, with premium quality, that is extraordinary quality, and high security, right? So it was launched in the year 2010, that is in the late 2009, that is in the December it was launched, and later it came into practice in the year 2010, right? So next, objectives of the 4G technology, right? The 4G technology is developed to accommodate the or to satisfy the quality of services in the wireless networks, and also to satisfy the data rate requirements, right? Data rate requirements for the applications like MMS, multimedia messaging services, wireless broadband services, and video chat, mobile TV, and digital video broadcasting, and high network capacity. And the also one of the main objective is it has it is developed to provide a data rate of 100 Mbps for mobile, and mobile means while moving, and 1 Gbps while we are in stationary, And also smooth handoff. Handoff means it is nothing but when we are moving from one area to the other area, right? So we will be in control of one base station in one area, that is tower. We call the tower as base station, right? So while we are moving from one particular area to another area, the services are handed over without interruption for our mobile. That is handed over to the next next base station, right? So when we move from the coverage area of the present base station, it is immediately the our services or the is handed over to the next base station without interruption, right? So we will be able to get the 4G services without interruption if we are though we are moving from one area to the another area. So that process is called a handoff. So yeah, that right, that is smooth handoff across various network, that is called smooth handoff, right? And also the connectivity and global roaming across multiple networks, right? The roaming ability if we move from one state to the state, like that, right? So we know at present we are using the 4G network. So in video chat and all, uh, so while compared to the earlier generation 3G and 3G, so the buffering will be low, so the high speed will be there, so that we can clearly communicate with the other person through video chat and all. And also nowadays the TVs are available, TV channels are available in the mobile. We can see all the TV channels through the mobile, right? Without any delay or without any buffering, right? So this for these applications and all, the 4G should accommodate the quality of service. It should meet the requirements of the quality of service. That is the main objective of the 4G technology, right? And next, vision of 4G, right? So while developing sorry there are several visions in the 4G. There is first one is fully converged services, and next is the second one is diverse user devices, and the third one is autonomous networks, and the fourth one is software dependency, and the fifth 4G vision is ubiquitous mobile access, right? So these are the visions of the 4G technology, right? Because in this diagram we are able to see the various visions, right? First is fully converged services. So that what is meant by fully converged services, right? So fully converged services means, so it that all the requirements should be available as a pool of content for according to the user requirements, right? For example, for the personal communication, information system, broadcasting, and in the case of entertainments, right? So in all these fields, the it should meet the requirements of the user. It should be available to the contents should be available according to the user requirements, right? The user will have access for a wide range of services and applications, right? So available that should be available conveniently and securely. So that is the fully converged services, right? Fully converged services means, so all the users requirements should be available there conveniently, right? And the next one is ubiquitous mobile access. So what do you mean by ubiquitous, right? So ubiquitous means the 4G network that is should be found anywhere, everywhere. Sorry, everywhere. It should be found everywhere, right? So that is called ubiquitous, right? So the users can access over the uh, internet 4G technology from everywhere. That is called ubiquitous mobile access, right? The people can communicate through the 4G technology, and they can make use of the high speed information services, and also they can make use of the entertainment services, multimedia services, uh, through in everywhere, though they are in the right, anywhere, anytime. All these services the user can be able to access, right? So that is, it will replace all those practices in the earlier generation, right? So in the earlier generation, this uh, these services may be somewhat less when compared to the present 4G generation, right? So that is ubiquitous, that should be present everywhere, that so that all the users can access this network from anywhere, right? So next is diverse user devices, right? So diverse means in the sense various many number of users are available all over the world, right? So that is 4G, after the implementation or the after the establishing the 4G technology, the number of users has been increased year wise, and now there is more everywhere have the all the use people have their 4G mobile phone in their packet. So that is called 4G, that is called what, diverse user devices, right? So many number of users are available, so many numbers of users are available all over the world, right? So next is autonomous network. Next division is autonomous network. Autonomous means self management of their structure, or self configurable, right? So this 4G network has the capability of managing their structure by self. That is, we can call it as self management of this structure, right? So it can configure its structure by its own, right? So and also it is an efficient technology, and also it is a cost effective technology, right? And the last vision is software dependency, right? Software dependency in the sense, the 4G technology should be trans- transparent to the users, and also it should simplify the task of the users, like that. So several requirements may be there, right? So transparency, the and also the people should will may expect to simplify their task. So for that, mobile agents are there. So this mobile agents will organize and reconfigure the major elements of the network according to the user needs, right? So they may develop the software to satisfy the requirements of the user, right? So these are the different visions of 4G technology. So now you may got some point about 4G visions, right? So first one is fully converged service, second one is ubiquitous mobile access, and the third one is diverse user devices, fourth one is autonomous networks, and the last one is software dependency, right? So next, we are going to see the evolution of the 4G technology. That is how the wireless networks has been evolved from one first generation towards the fourth generation and beyond, right? So first the first generation wireless mobile communication systems was introduced in the early 1980s, right? So in the first generation, the the first generation wireless was analog cell phones, and the speed of or the data rate is about 2.4, just 2.4 kilobits per second, right? And next came the second generation systems, right? The second generation systems was uh, second generation systems was introduced in the late 1980s, right? So it is planned mainly for voice transmission with the digital signal. So earlier in the first generation it was analog cell phones, and it was uh, now it was now means in the second generation it was digital signal, right? So it can enhance the speed is enhanced up to 64 kilobits per seconds, right? Right. So the second generation system was digital system with speed of 64 kilobits per seconds. So next is the third generation wireless systems. It is also called universal mobile telecommunication standard. So in short, we used to call it as UMTS. It was developed in the late 1990s, right? And 3G has got more improvements while compared to the second generation networks. So in the second generation networks and all, we cannot use the internet with high speed, right? So if while sending the audio or video, or while watching any videos in the network, we were not able to continuously watch a video, or the download rate will be download speed will be very less likewise. So the 3G has found a lot of improvement on when compared to that second generation network, right? So it provided the transmission speed from up to 2 megabits per second, right? So and it included many services from the second generation. So in the second generation, it has added from some additional services like global roaming, superior voice and video clarity or video quality, right? So like so uh, right, so it has found some improvements when compared to the second generation, right? So the 3G wireless system was developed in the year late 1990s, right? So next is the present generation, the fourth generation. So it was the work for the fourth generation has started in the year 2002, right? So the research towards the fourth generation has started in 2002, and they have been started the research with an objective of providing high speed about 100 Mbps to 1 Gbps, right? And later the 4G network, after a long year of research, the 4G network was introduced in the late of 2009, and it became practice in the year 2010, right? So after that the researchers are going for the fifth generation wireless networks. And next is we are going to compare all the generations, right? So in this table column, all the technologies has been given: first generation technology, second generation technology, third generation technology. So in between there is a little improvement, that is the called 2.5 generation technology, right? So after 3G it is fourth generation technology, right? And the design has begun in the year for the first generation 1970, right? So and this it is implemented in 1984, that is in the beginning of 1980s, right? So design began, that is the research or the design has been begun in the year 1970 and implemented in 1984. And the second generation, the design has been developed, so begun in the year 1980, and it was implemented in the year 1991, right? And 2.5 generation networks as design. The design has begun in the year 1985 and it was implemented in the year 1999, right? So next, the third generation network. The research has been started in the year 1990 and it was implemented in the year 2002. And 4G networks in the early 2000 itself they have started working, and officially the research has been started in the year 2002 and it was implemented in the year 2010, right? And as discussed earlier, the services, so in the first generation network it supports only the voice alone, that is also that is analog voice, right? So then the second generation some improvements has been there, it has found some improvements, that is the voice is digital voice, and in addition SMS services has been introduced there, right? So next, in the 2.5 generation network, the data services has been introduced. Data services in the sense the internet connecting ability, right? So the internet connecting, that is data services has been introduced, and MMS, multimedia uh, uh, multimedia services, right? So it has been introduced in the 2.5 generation networks, right? So next came the 3G networks. So here it has higher capacity broadband data, right? So the speed of the data internet will be high when compared to the earlier 2.5 generation, right? So and in the fourth generation, the speed is very high when compared to the third generation, and also it supports multimedia services. Since the speed of the network is very high, it supports several multimedia services, right? And also it this gives the standards about used in the different networks. So and also the speed is given, and also the technology used in the first generation FDMA is used, and the second generation TDMA and CDMA, and and the third generation CDMA, and also in the fourth generation CDMA is used along with some other technologies also, right? So next is uh, we are going to see about the multiple input multiple output, uh, the description about the MIMO systems, right? So from the diagram itself we are able to understand, right? So the stream of data, a single stream of data is divided into multiple small streams, and it is transmitted over the different channels, and it is received in the by the different receivers. That is an MIMO system will have various transmitters, that is more many number of transmitters, that is called multiple input, and also it will have many number of receivers in the receiver side, right? So receiver antennas in the receiver side, right? So while sending the data, the single stream of data is divided into small stream of data, and it is transmitted through several antennas, and it is sent through the channel, and it is received by all the different streams of data. Small streams of data has been received by different receivers, and then again it is multiplexed together. All the small stream of data are multiplexed together into a single stream of data in the receiver side, right? So that is called multiple input multiple output, MIMO system, right? So next is so the companies which were involved in the research and the development of the 4G technologies, right? So that is during the year 2002 to 2010, the various companies were involved in the uh, research and development of the 4G before the implementation, right? So that is from Japan, the NTT Docomo, from Ireland, the DigiWeb, from Chicago, Sprint, and also Verizon Wireless, Vodafone Group, American Wireless Provider, Clearwire, etc. Right? So these are the companies which were involved in the development of the 4G technology, right? So involved in the research of the 4G technology, right? So next, applications. So the applications of 4G, we can call it as a killer applications because it brought a revolution in the internet world, right? So as we are using the 4G technology in our current days, we were able to know so what benefits we are achieving through the wireless networks, right? So since it provides a various it applies in various applications, we call it as killer applications, right? So that is it provides higher speed data rate, which by which a movie can be downloaded in a 2 to 3 minutes, right? So in 2 to 3 minutes we can download a single movie, right? So which is impossible in the previous generation networks, is made possible in the fourth generation network, that a single movie can be downloaded in 2 to 3 minutes, or up to if the data speed is somewhat slow, means it can be extended to up to 5 minutes or to 10 minutes, right? And it is more security, right? So 4G technology is more secure, right? And next, video conferencing. So nowadays more people, all the peoples around the world, the peoples are used to talk to each other through video conference calls, and the official calls like company calls, meeting and all. So it will take place through video conferencing. So nowadays it is in practice, right? So this 4G technology uh, support video conferencing and all, right? So without 4G technology, so this video conferencing are not possible, right? So and it provide a higher bandwidth, right? And also as we have seen that it provides a global roaming capability, right? So since it provide because of this 4G technology, we found many applications, right? So we found many benefits in many of the applications, so we call it as killer applications, right? And mm, applications, we can also say one example, that is in hospitals and all, the doctors can monitor the patients uh, through this 4G technology, from that is through the mobile phone. They can monitor the patients, not with the help of 4G technology, they can monitor the patient's conditions, right? So without that is far from the patient, though the doctor is far from the patient, he can be able to monitor the patient, right? So that is one the application, that is uh, medicine in the application in the medicine field, right? So next, advantages. So first advantage is high speed, right? High speed in the sense the data rate of 100 Mbps while we are in moving, and the one up to 1 Gbps while we are stationary. We can promise that we can get up to maximum, that is beyond 100 Mbps speed, we can get 4G for the 4G phones, right? And it is a global standard, right? So global standard in the sense it came to practice all over the world, and it provides global mobility, right? So we can able to move with the 4G phone, and also the service portability will be there, right? So that is it is uh, the 4G technology has been uh, has a global standard, right? So and the last one is low cost, right? So low cost in the sense we can achieve the high performance, and the cost is reasonably low, right? So in the case of in the case of 4G technology, right? So the advantages are high speed, and also the 4G technology is a global standard, and the last one is it is a low cost technology, right? And 4G smartphones, right? So the 4G technology applications, we can say that is one of the application is 4G smartphones, right? And in first the first 4G phone in the world is 4G smartphone in the world is HTC, right? So this which I am pointing now, HTC phone, which was practiced in United States, which was introduced in the United States, right? So that is HTC, right? And in India, the first 4G phone was introduced by the Huawei Technologies, right? So all over the world, the first 4G phone was introduced by HTC, and in India, the first 4G phone was introduced by Huawei Technologies. Later, it has been developed by Samsung, and nowadays we have several phones, several companies like Oppo, Realme, like etc. etc. So several brands are there, right? And nowadays, so this is the uh, smartphone we kind of smartphone we are uh, using now, right? So all over the world, the 4G technology was implemented in the uh, December, December 14, 2009, right? In Finland. So yeah, the right. So the 4G technology was first implemented on December 14, 2009, in cities it's called Oslo, Oslo, in the country Finland. Later, it has been practiced in United States, and in India, it was first implemented. The 4G technology was first implemented on 4th April, right? So 4th April of sorry, not 4th April, 10th April of 2012, right? So in India, it was first implemented. The 4G technology was first implemented in April 10, 2012, and this services was first provided by the Airtel network, right? So the 4G technology was introduced, and the first service providers were was Airtel, right? And it was implemented, or it was launched in Kolkata, right? So on April 12, 2012, and later it was practiced in the cities like Bangalore, Pune, and then the practice came over all over the India, right? So in all over the in the universe, it was introduced in December 14. It was launched in December 14, 2009 in Finland, and in India it was first launched in April 10, 2012, and in Kolkata, and the first service provider for 4G technology was Airtel, right? So next, future of 4G. So the future of 4G means nothing but next generation, right? So now the future of 4G now, testing going on for the implementation of 5G. So the next is the fifth generation technology, right? So based on the based on the 4G technologies, they will try to provide some improvements, or they will try to try to research some uh, so research to provide more services and benefits to the world uh, from 4G networks. That is, while comparing to the 4G networks, it should provide more services and benefits to the world and the people, right? So, and also they are aiming. The objective is fifth generation technology should be a more intelligent technology that interconnect the entire world without limits, right? So in the fourth generation itself, we found a revolution in the internet, and uh, and imagine that what how the fifth generation technology will be, right? So conclusion. Next, we are coming into the conclusion. So the 4G is a very promising generation of wireless communication, right? That changed the people's life in the wireless world, right? So we know what changes have the fourth generation technology have made, right? So it, it it made a change that every people in the world have a mobile in the uh, pocket, right? So without the help of the uh, PC or broadband connection, we can access the internet through our mobile with high speed, and also we can access the multimedia and video streaming, video conferencing, entertainment, gaming, etc., all available in only one mobile phone, which is available in the pocket of all the people all over the world. So that is, so we can say the fourth generation wireless technology has changed the people's life in the wireless world. So thank you.